Hello, in this recording we're going to talk about repositories in Moodle. Now, what are repositories? All they are places to put data. And so within Moodle there are several places in which you can put data. There are also several places in which you can link to your data that you may store outside of the course. And so we're going to explain where the ones internally are and how you can get to the ones externally. Okay, so what you see here is I've logged in as a student and I've gone to an assignment. This is the way a typical assignment is going to look. Notice that there's an online text box where we can put in text, and that there's a file submissions box. Now, realize that you can submit a file to either the online text box or the file submissions area, but you cannot type in the file submissions area. So this may be a little confusing depending on how your instructors have set this up. So you can either use both or either one to complete your assignment. So I'll show you how to get into both of those. Alright, within the online text box, if you hover over any of the tools in the WYSIWYG editor, you get a description on what these little tools are. If you want to get to the file repositories, like to link a file into the online text editor, you'll click on, or you'll hover over this little green icon next to the smiley face, and it's called Moodle Media. If we click on that, it opens up another box, and there's nothing inside of it, but if you click on this, find or upload a sound, video, or applet, we can click on that, and then we get a list of repositories. And I'll sort of go through what these are. You have recent files, and so recent files, these you have to read this as your recent files. And so if you have multiple courses, or if you've taken a course one semester and then this is the second semester, the system will keep track of your account and know the files that you've uploaded recently, and so you don't have to go and hunt for them. You can click on that and find them immediately. Notice that I have no recent files in this user's account. You can always choose to upload a file, okay, where this is the traditional way, where you'd click on a browse button and then it would open up a window where you can pick stuff. So you can always do that. So that's the more traditional way. It's more of a manual process, but you can still do it. You also have a private files repository. Now what the private files are, these are your private files within Moodle. You as a student have a very small amount of data that you can store within the system, so that you could, like, say, upload some content, even if it wasn't for this class, into this area and then you retrieve it at a later date. There are some repositories like Wikimedia where you can search for images, YouTube videos where you can search for YouTube videos to insert, but the ones that we're really going to be interested in probably are your private files or some of the external repositories. So in this example, I'm going to click on Google Docs, and I'm going to log in to Google Docs here. Alright, so I have logged in previously with this user account, and so it remembers my information, and so this gets into my Google Docs account here. These are my files. They're not shared with anybody else, and I can change how they're viewed by I can look at them by icons, I can look at them by list, and I can also look at them in a format where if you had folders, then you can have a hierarchical view. So let me show you how you would link in one of these repositories. So I'm going to click on the Dropbox repository, and I'm going to click the Login button. Now, the first time you go to any of these repositories, it's going to open up a new window, and it's going to say, who are you? So we're going to want to put in some information. So let's link to a Dropbox account. Okay, I'm going to put in my password, and I'll click sign in. Now the next thing that happens, it says, ooh, Dropbox says, hey, the app Moodle file repository would like to connect with your Dropbox. If you click deny at this point, it won't connect in, but if you click allow, then what it's going to do, it's going to sync these up. So now we've logged in to my Dropbox account, and so that you can upload data from here. Anything that you've stored in your Dropbox account can be added in. So that's how you get to external repositories. There are also some options here to allow you to record both audio and video directly from this interface. So let's take a look at that. So we can click on audio, and then we get this very simple interface. We have three big buttons. Initially, there's just one button here so that we don't get confused, and we're going to click on it. That's the record button. Okay. Flash Player says, do you want to allow this process to occur? You click allow, and now I'm recording. Notice the VU meter is moving as I speak a little bit. So I'm going to say whatever the assignment is, and then I'm going to hit stop. If I'd like to, I'm going to stop. Okay, if I'd like to listen to what I've recorded, and this is a good thing to do each time, click on the play button, and now I'm recording. Notice the VU meter is moving as I speak a little bit. That was what I recorded previously. If I'm happy with my recording, I can click next, and then I select the file. And then don't worry about changing the names here, because notice it is tagged to my name, and so as a student this recording will be tagged to your account. And then I'm going to click select this file. What it's doing right now is it's contacting the server, and it's actually encoding this file, and then it embeds it here. And then the last thing I can do is I can hit insert, and it's going to insert that file into the text box. Now let's talk about the video a little bit. It's done pretty much the same way. I'm just going to go down to this file submissions box to show you that you can add multiple files in any assignment. So I'm going to click add. We see our repositories list again. Notice that it remembers that I've logged into a particular repository, so I'm going to click video. Okay, again it's going to ask if you want to allow that, so that you can click allow. It's going to see the camera that's attached to the computer. So I'm going, and of course you have to have a camera if you want to use the video for this. So I'm going to click record. So now this is recording. It's recording my voice, whatever. I'm going to hit stop, and then I can play back the recording that I just made. So now this is recording. It's recording my voice, whatever. All right. If I'm happy with my recording, I can click the next button. Same as in using the audio file, I can select it. Now notice that they look a little, you can change the view here so that you can click on icon or list view or threaded view. It doesn't make any difference which one it is. You just click on the file that you'd like to select. Don't worry about changing the name, because it's going to be associated with your student name, and so lastly you're going to click select this file. Now what it's doing is writing this file down to the server, and depending on how large the file is, this may take a little bit of time, so you don't want to close your computer down while that's recording. So notice here that we have now this text and this recording for an audio file, and we also have this video that's embedded in this assignment. Okay, so once we're happy with everything we've written, we can click Save Changes, and then those get turned in to the professor. Okay, so you'll notice that we have our embedded audio submission and our linked video submission. And so if an instructor or you would like to see what that looks like, you could click on the link. It's depending on how your computer is configured, it'll either launch a player or it will play in line. Alright, so I'm going to say open with QuickTime. Alright, so it's going to open this up, and I'll pull this over here so that you can see this. So this is opened in a separate application. I can play my recording if I wish. I'd like to show you one other thing that's possible with repositories, or at least submitting files to assignments. Now, this is new to this version of Moodle, and it doesn't work across all browsers, so sorry, Safari and IE users, this doesn't work for you, but Chrome and Firefox work just fine. Notice that I have my Windows open here still, and then I have these files attached. If I would already have a file on my desktop, I can use the old way, the manual way, of clicking add and then going to the file upload and then clicking on browse and browsing for my thing, and you know, it takes a while. But if I already have it right next to my browser window like this, what I can do is I can click this, and I'm going to add a file into the file submissions area this way. This doesn't work in the online text editor, but just the file submissions. I can click a file that I have, and this could be any file, movie file, audio file, picture, doc, PDF, whatever. The only restriction is that it can't be larger than the allowable size for the assignment. So I'm going to click and I'm just going to drag this over. Now notice that as I'm dragging over, this changes. So I'm going to pull that back. And so notice what this says. It says drop files here to upload. So I'm going to drop this image in. And now it uploads this image into my submission, and I can hit Save Changes. And so what gets displayed are file submissions. So here's an images file. If I click on it, it's going to open up in a particular application. But it's an easy way to add files to your assignments.